Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we are seeing the prasang of Daksha Prajapati. In one of the earlier sacrifices, when Daksha had entered, Lord Shiva did not get up, Brahmaji also did not get up, and Daksha felt insulted. So one of the expectations one has and attachments one has is the need for respect, recognition, honor, praise, and then one feels good about it. If that does not come, one takes it personally, one feels insulted, which is what Daksha felt. For a seeker, this is an obstacle. How does it matter whether somebody got up or did not get up? If one was given a high position or a low position? A seeker who wants to realize the self, for that seeker it is immaterial because one is trying to rise above the ego. But when we live in the world with this attitude that our respect depends on the treatment of others, then we will always be a victim of sometimes our own imaginations also. It is not that that person actually insulted. Shivji never insulted Daksha Prajapati. But Daksha Prajapati felt insulted. That is because of his attachment to the need for respect and honor and praise and all that. A seeker is one who has no such expectation. One's happiness depends on one's own inner state of mind, and furthermore, it depends on the humility that I am only a servant of God. I am here to serve. Nothing more than that. If somebody praises, credit to God. If somebody criticizes, debit to God. Simple. How easy is that mindset and how free is that mindset? Otherwise, just imagine the key of our happiness is in hundreds of people's hands. Somebody smiled at us, we feel very good. Somebody didn't return a smile, when we smiled, finished, our mind starts getting disturbed. How petty is that type of a life and that type of a thinking? That my respect and my self-esteem depends on other people and how they treat me. So Daksha Prajapati, he felt insulted and he abused Lord Shivji in that very sabha and he walked out. Now just think about it. He who wanted so much respect for himself and he did not, he felt insulted when Shivji did not get up. In front of so many people, all the great Munis, Rishis, Brahmaji, and the person who has invited Daksha also for the yajna, in front of all of them, Daksha walked out. So who actually insulted whom, if you think about it? Shivji did not insult Daksha at all. Daksha actually insulted everybody when he walked out of that yajna. And it is his behavior that spoiled that whole yajna before it even began. So when he walked out insulting Shivji, Nandi cursed Daksha and his followers, and then he cursed the Brahmanas who were supporting him. Then Bhrigu Rishi, he got upset and he started cursing the followers of Lord Shiva. Now this is another point to understand. Anger, if it comes in one person and the opposite person forgives, it will stop then and there. If the opposite person also retaliates, then somebody else will retaliate. This will go on. Shivji said all this is not good. He just quietly went from that place before anything further happens. Now that episode got over. A few days later, Daksha was made the head of all the other Prajapatis. So when he was made the head of all the other Prajapatis, he again, see, when he is given, when he was not given the certain respect, he felt insulted. When he is made the head of all Prajapatis, he felt very elated. This is the way our mind lives in samsara. Some praise and we go on the seventh cloud, seventh heaven. And so-called ignoring, we feel upset. Bhagavan did not even ignore him. He just didn't get up. But this Daksha feels very insulted for that. So our self-esteem fluctuates based on how people treat us. Somebody gives us great honor and award and this and that, and we are on cloud nine. Just imagine what kind of a life is that, where we depend on all these things to feel happy. And it doesn't pinch us, that my happiness depends on how people talk about me, how they think about me, how they treat me. Not only doesn't pinch, I will put efforts to ensure that my image in their mind is better. So I will hide behind a mask. What I am, I don't want to show to people because there are enough impurities in my mind. So put on a false mask so that everybody will keep praising. Is that not hypocrisy? How will such a person realize the self? So Vedanta tells us this: be equanimous in both praise and criticism, pleasure and pain. And how can one be equanimous when one lets go of this attachment to this image? This image factor is there. That image factor is that which continuously is going on pushing us to do things which are not even sometimes dharmic, just to maintain that image. And who created that image? We only. We only want to be respected in a particular way. People should look at me in this way. My image should be in this way. And today in the age of branding, we are, oh, this is my brand. There's a brand value. Samsara goes on that way only. Not that some of these are absolutely unimportant, but they are not so important that we allow it to affect our self-esteem. They have some relative value in life. We may have some roles to play, some duties to do. For that much only they are relevant. They can't define our inner state. What defines what is really important is the straightforwardness, the humility, the simplicity, the devotion to the Lord, the surrender to the Lord. Those are more important. But those get left aside for the false show of an image of this ego. And the ego thrives on this image building only. So here Daksha Prajapati, he felt very happy, so he did one Vajpaya Yajna and then he's doing a Brahaspati Savana. And he has invited all others and purposely left out Lord Shiva. Now Sati is seeing all of them going. And she comes to know that, oh, this one great sacrifice. So she tells Lord Shiva that, as my father's house, and people who are not even related, they all are going. I am his daughter, you are his son-in-law. We don't need invitation. Let us go. This attachment is there to the parents. And see, it is one aspect is that Lord Shiva had not told Sati what had happened. So understandably, she doesn't know the background. So Shivji explains the whole background to her. And she still finds fault with Shivji, saying that how will my father know that you have prostrated to him mentally? So you should drop the grudge against him and you should just come with me. Shivji says, I don't have a grudge. I am happy to come. He has a grudge, that's why he has not invited us. And if you go there uninvited, you can go to your parents' house, Guru's house, all that we saw last chapter. Uninvited, if they don't have any malice against you, but if they have some dvesh and purposely they have not invited, then don't barge in. Then only you will get hurt. He explained all that logically. And one point to understand is this: Namaskar, who deserves Namaskar? If Bhagwan did not get up, if Lord Shiva did not get up, when Daksha came, what was Lord Shiva doing at that time? He was sitting quietly and meditating on Lord Vishnu. Who is that Vishnu? Who is pervading the hearts of all? If Lord Shiva was meditating on Lord Vishnu, by default he has given respect to everybody, including Daksha. Why? Because this body is not that which is respected. His body is made up of 5 elements, that is dirt, filth, blood, bone, marrow, all that is there inside this. One doesn't worship this body, one worships the indweller. The one who enlivens this body is that Narayana, is that Vishnu. To him, Bhagavan, he deserves true namaskar. Does body deserve namaskar? Dead body, one will burn it and bury it somewhere. How does that body deserve that? If somebody says, no, that jiva deserves namaskar. A jiva also doesn't deserve namaskar in that context. Bhagavan only deserves namaskar. Because that jiva has no existence without Bhagavan. So the difference between Daksha and Shivji was that Daksha was looking at himself as a body and looking at Shivji as son-in-law, but Shivji is looking at himself as the divine, and he is meditating on Vishnu Bhagavan, who is divine, and he is, by implication, he has also given respect to Daksha, but Daksha was not able to see that at all. See, if you cannot see the subtle, at least don't assume the insult. But he assumed the insult. That's the sad part there. That's a sign of insecurity. So, Shivji explained all this, saying, what namaskar I did not do, it was not any fault at all. But he's still having a grudge. Now, please don't go. If you go, you will get hurt. So, with that, this last chapter, the 3rd chapter, is where we had stopped. Now, in the last shloka, Bhagavan told Sati that if you ignore my advice and go there, no good will come to you. For when a man who is held in high esteem suffers indignity at the hand of a relation, the affront forthwith causes his death. Even that much warning he gave, that you may even die in this process. You will feel insulted, you will feel it is worse to live now with this type of an insult, so don't go. Now, Sati is a symbol of our buddhi. Now, this buddhi of ours does not want to listen to what the Shastra says, or what the Guru says, or what Ishvara says. That buddhi wants to do its own thing. Daksha is a jiva. And this Buddhi is Daksha's daughter. And the Buddhi doesn't want to listen to Shivji. Shivji here is Guru Swarup. Doesn't want to listen. Now she decides. So the fourth chapter starts with this. Maitreya Rishi is narrating. Etavaduktva virarama shankaraha patnyanganasham yubhayatra chintayan suhriddidrikshu parishankita bhavan nishkramati nirvashati dvidha sa etadukta virama shankaraha. Now having said what he had to say, Shivji became quiet because he understood that Sati is going to die either there or here. Her time has come. Patnyanga nasham, that is the expression there, that she is going to die. Bhagavan is Trikala Jnani, he is Bhagavan himself, so he knows. So what did he decide then? That she is swinging like a pendulum. Suhriddidruksha parishankita. So between the love of the parents and her sisters and all of them and me, now she is stuck in between. Look at this condition. Huh? This generally we find that man is caught between the mother-in-law, means his mother, and the wife. Here the woman is caught between father and husband. Now she's swinging, where should I go? Both the sides the pull is equal. But her mind is leaning more towards the father. So she is swinging like a pendulum, and she is also having fear. Her heart is there towards the parents, but she also has fear that, how can I leave Lord Shiva and go? If he comes with me, it is the best, then there is no conflict. Now, see, she is the daughter. She wants to go there, but he is the son-in-law, and he has explained the reasons that why we should not go there. All reasons have been explained properly. But she is not willing to accept those reasons. Otherwise, she will not swing in pendulum. She will say, no, even if my heart wants to go, I will abide by what you are saying. Matter ended. But that doesn't happen. Many times that is what happens. No? We are told also what should be done or what should not be done, but our mind gets tempted, and the attachment and attraction is so strong that one gets carried away in that way. So now she's swinging like a pendulum, and she knows that Shivji is not going to come, very clear. So she's angry on him, because if he came, her conflict would have ended. But he doesn't want to come because he is holding on to his principle. Not that he is not going there because he is insulted. And he has to forgotten that insult also. He didn't even come and share that with Sati. Because what is the point in just sharing that with her and then making her sad? At the right time, what had to be told, now he told also. Because the solution, there is no solution there. It's only going to increase her misery. And, her thoughts about her father are going to unnecessarily become negative. So Shivji didn't tell. At the right time, when he had to tell, he told. And he is very clear, I don't have anything in my heart, but he is holding on to it, so he has not invited us. Now we can't go there uninvited. So she knows that he is not going to come. Now she is very angry. You see, it said that she burst into tears and she started weeping. And with anger, she is looking at Lord Shiva. That you, meaning she does not want this dilemma, If Shivji comes, no dilemma at all. Happily she will go. If Shivji doesn't come, she has to desert him and go. It will hurt him, it will hurt her. And she is holding Shivji responsible for this. You think about it. Whose attachment is causing this dilemma? Sati's attachment. Who is she blaming for it? Shivji. Most of the time, we don't have the courage to own up our own attachments. We blame somebody or the other only for it. Here it is. She looks at Lord Shiva as though she is going to burn him. Bhavam Bhavani Apratipurusham Rusha Pradhakshyati Vaikshata Jata Vepathuhu. So she is looking at Shivji with such anger in her eyes, as if she will burn Shivji only. Shivji is not bothered. That I told you before, no, that Shivji lives in that Vairagya. He doesn't care whether somebody praises, somebody insults, even if it is his own spouse. He is very clear, I have nothing to do. This is not my fault. That is a sign of a person who is objective, rooted in detachment, as well as loving and caring. One doesn't get sentimental in these matters and then take it upon himself. Oh, I am cause for this. I don't want my spouse to suffer, so let me go. If she is choosing to go, that is her choice, her attachment to her parents. And if she is suffering right now in this dilemma, that is also her calling. He doesn't take it upon himself. That is objectivity there. How many times we take things personally? If a child doesn't behave in a particular way, parent takes it personally. Maybe I didn't bring up the child properly. That child's prarabdha it is. You did what you could do. If you have not compromised and you are brought up well, that is child's prarabdha. Now, why are you bothered? But we will take personally. The student doesn't write exams properly or does something wrong, the teacher blames himself or herself. Why? That is students look out. As long as we have not done anything in compromise or we have, not made that student do something wrong, there is nothing. Why should one take it personally? Each one should take charge of their life, full stop. And that's not rude. Shivji is loving to Sati even now. Just because Sati left, Shivji is not angry at Sati. That is her choice. He respects her difference of opinion and her choice. And if she wants to go, she has the freedom to go. Look at that maturity in that relationship. He doesn't say, I am your pati, you have to listen to me. Pati is always greater than patni. None of that is there here. And people keep saying so many things about patriarchy and this and that. These incidents they don't see where there is such freedom. She has all rights to disagree and that right is respected. Shivji doesn't say that, no, you cannot disagree with me. Even if you disagree with me, my command is final, you better live here. Otherwise, if you leave this house, you can never come back. All that sentimental drama you can see in the movies and all that. Shivji doesn't do any of that. If Sati wanted to come back also, she would have accepted her. Sati had learned her lesson, she would have come back. But Sati did not want to come back. That you will see as we go along. So this Sati felt, she is in dilemma. Now she is looking at Shivji with such anger. Now there is grief. She has been crying. There is anger. And this judgment of her is clouded. Now when her judgment is clouded, she finally decides. She gives in to her attachment to the parents. And she decides, she leaves Lord Shiva. And who is Lord Shiva? You see, the third sloka is beautifully given there. Pitroragastraina vimudha dhirgrahan premnatmano yordhamadat satam priyaha. That Lord Shiva, who has given Sati half his body, meaning he is Ardhanarishvara, that Lord Shiva, she leaves him and goes to Daksha's place because that emotions are clouding her judgment. She goes. There is not a single word mentioned here that Shivji felt insulted by this. Just look at this. Now, Daksha felt insulted, Shivji didn't get up. Sati is leaving Shivji and going. In both the cases, Shivji is not feeling insulted. When Daksha cursed Shivji also, Shivji didn't take it personally and feel insulted. When Sati is leaving and going also, he is not feeling that, oh, between me and the father, she chose father. How sad this is. What is the use of my love? I think I have failed in my love. None of that. You think about it. All these prasangas, they are very powerful in teaching us how to live in the samsara. Moksha is a different matter altogether. These qualities are prerequisites for moksha. Here we are talking about dharma. This fourth canto we saw, no? 4 prasangas for dharma, artha, kama and moksha will come. This is a prasang for dharma. That if one does the duties, what one is given the duties, whatever role one has taken up, if one does those duties anchored in the Supreme without getting affected by all these things, one prepares oneself to get mukti. That's the purpose of dharma and that's the purpose of our grahasthi life. Naturally, our mind will go through the pendulum effect and we will keep swinging between pairs of opposites, but that is the sadhana to come in the center, to come into the level of balance. So Shivji didn't take it personally at all. This is the consistent behavior which is the sign of maturity. See, sometimes we can become equanimous. Now and then even we can become equanimous. But consistently to be equanimous is sadhana. Shivji is equanimous. He doesn't take it personally. And when the closest of people are doing these things, at that time to be equanimous is the test. If somebody outsider is, telling us something or doing something, it doesn't affect us so much. The closest ones, when they do something, they affect us. Here it is the spouse and the father-in-law. And Sati, stuck between the two, chose the father-in-law and the parents and the mother and the sisters and all of them. Shivji said, okay, no problem, go. And no anger and no hatred or nothing, saying, go, let us see. Now let us see who wins. I'm telling you, you're going to get insulted there. Now you didn't listen to me. Now go and face the consequence. None of that. Samsaric mind will think like that. That it is me versus you, my opinion versus your choice. When he doesn't take it personally, because that is her choice, she will go through the karma phala of that. Why do I have to add this thing into it, the ego into it? Not required. Just imagine how free that mind is. Your choice, go ahead, face whatever it is. If I have to support you, I will support you. That you will see later, it comes also. But when the choice is being made, there is no threat, there is no ultimatum, and there is no ego issue there. That now let us see whose opinion was better. I told you not to go, you still went there. Now go through it now. None of that. So she goes. Now when she goes, Shivji looks at all his ganas, saying, go. How can Sati go alone? She should not go alone. So all these ganas also, they go. So many of them, thousands of them actually. So there is Maniman, Mother and so many others, and Nandi, who is the head of all of them, they all go with Sati. And they don't just go with Sati, just to give her company. They take all the things that Sati has, and she is the daughter, she is the wife of Lord Shiva. So there is a certain grandeur that she has. So they take her with all that grandeur. So Sati sits on Nandi and she has all these, her bird. So Sarika is her bird. Then there is the mirror, then there's a lotus, there's a white umbrella, there are the chauris, there are the flowers, kettle drums, conches, flutes, accompaniments of music, everything. So she goes properly, like how the royal procession is. So she goes like that. And so the point to say here is that she was given a very beautiful send off, which is what we meant by when we said that Shivji didn't take it personally. He said, okay, your choice, go. With all honor, dignity, everything, she went. Aram se she went. Deep down, Shivji knows this is his last meeting with Sati. He's not going to meet her. Just look at that. Again, the detachment there. He's not going to meet Sati again after this now. And he knows it well. But still anchored in detachment. All the things, whatever she needs, are given. Now she goes. Now Sati reaches there. So Vedic hymns are being chanted, and each Brahmana is trying to chant. There's some competition, a healthy competition in the Brahmana. So these Vedic swaras are, people are listening from far and wide. They can listen to this great chanting of the Veda mantras. And there are lots of devatas and everybody who has come there. So when she goes there, she sees all this which is happening. She is very happy in one sense. And it is the sacrifice of Daksha Prajapati, yajna conducted by him. So she goes to him. He didn't give her any respect at all. Now look at Daksha Prajapati's mind. The issue he had is with Shivji. Daksha Prajapati had no issue with the daughter actually. But the daughter has come, but his issue with Shivji, he is holding that grudge in his mind and is showing it on the daughter. How sad is that? Sati left Shivji and came thinking that it is my father's house, my own house. I have grown up there, and my mother and my sisters and everybody will be there. I will go meet them. She made that choice and she came here, and Daksha didn't look at her also. And because Daksha did not give her respect and did not even look at her, and he absolutely ignored her completely, other people are scared of Daksha because now he is the head of all the Prajapatis and all the Devatas come below him. Nobody is giving him her respect there except her mother and sisters. Nobody is bothered. See that? Afraid of Daksha, who treated her with disrespect. Nobody bestowed any attention on her when she arrived there, excepting of course her mother and sisters, who gladly and fondly embraced her, their throats choked with tears of love. Now, when she saw this, she immediately recognized what my husband said was correct. If Daksha is holding on to the grudge on him and he is deflecting that on me here. But she didn't take it personally that, okay, I am being insulted here. So she looked around. She did not receive any of these gifts and all those things which the mother and sisters were giving her, though they had no feeling of disrespect towards her. But now she is more interested to see what is happening there, because Dongre Maharaj says that she came to this yajna to ensure that the gap between Shivji and Daksha is filled. The how the fight which is there between them is resolved. And it should not spread more and more and more. It's not good for Daksha also, for the whole creation also. So she goes there with that attitude, but this is what happens there. So she sees there that there is no share given. Meaning, see, Devatas, they will come to receive the offerings. So they have come. Each one will take the sacrificial offerings. There was no place for Shivji to even sit. Ishana Disha is the Disha where Shivji presides over. So Shivji is one of the 8 Dikpalas here. Lokapalas, sorry, not Dikpalas. He's one of the 8 Lokapalas. And so as the role of a Lokapala, his Disha is the Ishana Disha, east. So he will sit there and the offerings will go to him. Like Yama is south, like that, different devatas and different gods have their own designated place. Now that place is empty, there is no asan there, and there is no, so 7 offerings are ready, the 8th one is not there. That means no offering was also kept ready for Shivji, the place also is empty, invitation is also not sent. That means it is an intentional thing, it is not that Daksha has forgotten. So she sees that, there's the sacrificial offering is not allotted to Rudra. So Shivji in the form of Rudra is the presiding deity. So Daksha had shown that wantedly he had done this to show disrespect towards the Lord. That's the strange thing. Bhagavan didn't even disrespect him, but Daksha disrespected him. He cursed him, he walked out of the assembly, and now he didn't invite him and he is not offering any of this. So who disrespected whom, actually speaking? If Shivji wanted to disrespect Daksha, he could have done many things. He could have retaliated against Daksha. He could have poisoned the mind of Sati when he came back against Daksha. He could have prevented Sati from going in through his force. None of that. So Daksha is disrespecting actually. So in that assembly, when she saw this, the 9th shloka, Rudrabhagam tamaveksha chadvaram pitra cha deve krita helanam vibhau anadrita yajna sadasya dhishwari chukopalokaniva dhakshyati rusha. So now she got very angry. And she is Jagat Janani. She got very angry and as though she will burn the whole world with fury. That was her anger. Now she got angry not because she was disrespected. You see that. She got angry because there is no place for Lord Shiva there. And that is what pinched her, that how can you insult my husband? And here it is Bhagavan himself. So, what did she do then? These various attendants who have come, the attendants of Lord Shiva, she invoked all of them. And she wanted to end this sacrificial fire where Lord Shiva is insulted. So those who were doing these offerings, the Brahmanas who are sitting there, she invoked the attendants to come and ensure that these Brahmanas get disturbed and these ahutis are not offered, because a yajna where Bhagavan is not respected is not a yajna. First of all, one point. Second point, a yajna is done to offer the oblations to the devatas, invoke grace of Bhagavan, express gratitude, do dan and charity, to live in tapasya, follow certain niyama, rules, vrata, all that, which will help to purify the mind. And higher positions one rises, the more is the need for purity of mind. But this yajna is not being done with any of these feelings. This whole yajna is done for ego boosting and to make Shivji, to insult Lord Shiva. That type of a yajna should not be encouraged at all. So Sati decided this yajna is not worth continuing here. It should not continue. Now, in anger, she addresses. Now her address is very, very powerful here. So she says that None other than you would antagonize Lord Shiva, who is unsurpassed in this world, to whom no one is dear or hateful. Meaning, Shivji lives in a state of equanimity. He will never hate anybody or insult anybody, but you are taking it personally. Now she understood very clearly what Shivji was telling her. He says, no one is dear or hateful, and who is the beloved self of all embodied beings, who is the cause of all and free from enmity. He doesn't have dvesha at all. You have it in your mind, and you are insulting him. So he says, people like you, O Brahmana, discover faults even in the virtues of others. That is called asuya, the quality of finding fault. Even in the good, one will go on finding fault. That is the feeling of asuya. Just a minute. So here he says, she says, doshan paresham hi guneshu sadhavo grinhanti ke chinna bhavadrisha dvija gunanscha falgun bahuli karishnavo mahattamasteshva vidad bhavanagham. So she says that you are one who are finding fault even in virtue of others, but there are some pious souls who never do so. Meaning Shivji is like that pious soul. Now he has not bothered to even hold a grudge against you. And what are you holding a grudge against him, who is the self of all, who is abiding in equanimity? So the greatest of all are they who are want to magnify even the most trifling virtues. So not only they don't find fault with others, they will magnify even little virtues that people have and glorify them, because that's the way to grow. Virtues have to be highlighted. The more we keep developing virtues, the vices will automatically just go away. So that is what the great people do. But you have found fault even with such people. Meaning Lord Shiva is the one who is most compassionate, kind. He is Ashutosha. But you are finding fault even with him. Then she says about this body, because it is his body identification which makes him do all this discrimination. So she says that it is no wonder that those ignoble souls who declare the material body, which is no better than corpse, as the self, they always indulge in maliciously reveling exalted souls. Meaning, those who think of this body, they are looking down upon Shivji, who is beyond body. And you are insulting him. How can people who are full of body consciousness, living in the body, as the body, for the body, ever understand what is the state of one who is gone beyond body identification? In the world also we see that is what happens. Now, people who are so attached to the body, they have the audacity to criticize Mahatmas who have gone beyond body. And all kinds of things they will talk. Children they are actually prattling something in their ignorance. Mahatmas don't bother at all. But these people unnecessarily they criticize such a person. So such a behavior befits those people, since their glory is obscured by the dust of the feet of those exalted souls. Because they feel very insecure. Because the dust of the lotus feet of such exalted souls as though obscures these people's glory. Well, pathetic, small, little, some power, position they have, and then they feel that is being, overpowered by the glory of such great Mahatmas. Tukaramji's, all the books and abhangs, etc., they were thrown in the river by the Brahmanas. because they felt Tukaramji's glory is overpowering theirs. Arey, where is Tukaramji? Where are these people? People spoke so many things against Kabir Dasji, against Mirabai. But that's the world, that's how the world is. So he says that you are doing these things and you hate Lord Shiva. Now she comes directly. Earlier she gave the principle, now she is saying directly, you hate Lord Shiva of sacred renown, whose command is inviolable, whose celebrated name of 2 syllables, Shiva, uttered with the tongue even once and that too casually, immediately wipes out the sins of men. That Supreme Lord, you are hating him. You bear enmity to that Lord who is a friend of all and the befriender of the whole universe, whose lotus feet are not only resorted to by the bee-like minds of exalted souls, thirsting for honey in the shape of the joy of absorption in Brahma, but also showered the blessings sought after by interested people. That Supreme Lord Shiva, you are hating him, who is a friend of the whole universe, meaning he is your friend also, and you are hating him unnecessarily. So like that she gives 13 verses, they are here, 11 to 23. This is her Upadesh to her own father. Now look at that, what I said earlier. Na? The one is the freedom that she had, Shivji let her go, no problem. Now as a daughter also, she is talking right in front of everybody. All those people who were scared of Daksha Prajapati and so they didn't give respect to her, all are listening now. And Sati is talking about the father. See the freedom there again. Daksha also in that context, he doesn't gag her. He doesn't say that, hey, this person is talking against me, take her away from here. I am the Daksha Prajapati. Nobody can talk against me. She speaks and in front of everyone. That discrimination one should have. When should one criticize in public and when one should criticize in private? Generally, it should be done privately to handle. If it is one-to-one, it has to be handled privately. It should not be done openly in public. Unnecessary it is. But here it is not a matter of that. Here everybody is involved because each one is supporting the other and the adharma. So openly she speaks. So she says that even, Brahmaji and others, they continuously respect Lord Shiva. Apart from you, everybody else respects Lord Shiva. That's the point she is making. That all people respect Lord Shiva. Do not people other than you, such as Brahma and others, who place on their head flowers dropped from his feet. Brahmaji can take the flowers dropped from his feet and put on his head. Meaning, Brahmaji didn't get up that time, no? Because he is the father of Daksha. But that Brahmaji can take the flower which has fallen from Shivji's feet and put on his head. Why? Because he doesn't see Shivji as a body. He sees Shivji as the Param Tattva, Shiva Tattva. So if Brahmaji takes that flower and puts on his head, then how do you expect that he will get up? How can he get up? Brahmaji himself is sitting there. Because he is your father, he doesn't get up, and you expect that Shivji will get up. And not that Shivji is thinking all this. Shivji is so lost in thinking about the Supreme Vishnu. So he says everybody reveres him. They know him to be inauspicious, meaning what all Daksha said, no, in that earlier yajna, that he is inauspicious, he lives in cremation ground, he wears mundamala, all that. Brahmaji and everybody know that in that way Shivji is inauspicious, but they don't see the body. They see the attitude and the truth in which Bhagavan is abiding. So they know him to be inauspicious externally, but they know that his name is Shiva and he is most auspicious. So they know that, he lives in cremation, throwing about his matted locks, wearing the wreaths lying here and there, as well as the ashes and human skulls. They know all that. Now she says that a person should, this 17th verse is the important one. Karnau pidhaya nirayadya, Karnau pidhaya nirayadyada kalpa ishe. Sorry, that tune is different. Karnau pidhaya nirayadyada kalpa ishe dharma vitar yasruna bhir nribharasya mane छिन्द्यात् प्रसह्य रुषतीमसतीं प्रभुश्चेत् जिह्वामसूनपि ततो विसृजेत् स धर्मः. So one should not listen. A man should shut his ears and leave the place where his master, a defender of righteousness, is being vituperated by unbridled men. Meaning one should not listen to the ninda of the Guru, of Ishvara. Why? Why one should not listen? Because if our heart is weak, our Shraddha will get shaken. This is what happens now. So many times, some people in the world, they have not thought through properly, they have not thought through deeply, and then simply they will say some argument and one will listen. The most popular argument is, if God was there, why should there be suffering in the world? If there is suffering in the world, that means God is not there, full stop. And now the devotee who has been worshipping Bhagavan thinks, yeah, now his Shraddha is shaken. Because the person is still not anchored thoroughly. After one is anchored, it doesn't matter. But when one is not anchored yet in devotion, and then one is listening to this ninda, then one's Shraddha will get shaken. So here she says that one should leave that place. If the person is powerless, meaning one can't do anything about it to shut that other person's mouth, one should just leave quietly. Or if he has power, he should forcibly cut off the vile tongue that indulges in such blasphemy. I mean, don't take it literally that we have to actually go and cut off, but meaning at least stop that person, put forth the counter argument, and stop that person from going on and on and on. And then she says, and then give up his own life as well, if need be. This is the dharma, this is the duty. Why? Because the body is meant to realize Bhagavan and not meant to keep listening to ninda. And if there is no way one can stop it, then drop the body. See, that is to say that one should not encourage the ninda of Shastra, Guru, Ishvara, all of these. Because those are the means for liberation. Now, if one hears ninda for that, then what will one hold on to in life? So, here she says, therefore, this is her conclusion. Why she decides this now? So she says, Atastavotpannamidam kalevaram nadharayishye shitikantha garhinaha jagdhasya mohadhi vishuddhi mandhaso jugupsitasyodharanam prachakshate. So she says, therefore I will no longer retain this body. Why? It is begotten by you. It was begotten of you. Meaning from you this body is born. Sati is saying she is his daughter. So you are a vilifier of Lord Shiva. You have criticized Lord Shiva. You have consciously ensured that you insult him by not inviting, by not keeping an asan, by not reserving an offering. So the wise declare that one gets purified only by vomiting the impure consumed food through ignorance. If one has eaten something out of ignorance and that is impure food, there is indigestion, etc., then one has to vomit it out. So she says her body, she feels like that. She feels very impure and it has to get burnt now. That's the only method. The mind of a great sage reveling in his own self does not follow the utterances of the Vedas, meaning the person who is thinking about his own self will not think about uh, following the instructions of the Vedas. And that is compared now, just as the movements of an immoral and a human being vary, even so the ways of the enlightened and the ignorant are not alike. Yeah, so my mistake here. The first line is about the wise person, Mahamunehe. This is the mind of a wise person which is abiding in the true self. The wise person may not sometimes follow the instructions of the Veda because the person has already reached the destination. Vedas also dare not give, do's and don'ts to a jnani. What the jnani does will actually become the Veda. So a jnani can do sometimes certain things which are not necessarily as prescribed in the Veda. Like for example, if Shankaracharya did the final rites of his mother, a sannyasi is not supposed to do, but he did because he had given that promise to the mother before taking sannyas that I will be there with you, because she was alone. Her father already died and now the son wants to go to serve the country. Who is there for her? Nobody. So he came. When the mother remembered him, he came. And he was there in her last moments and he chanted the, Shiva Bhujangam, and the Dutas of Lord Shiva started coming there. Or the Duta mean the Ganas of Lord Shiva. And the mother got very scared looking at them. Then Shankaracharya realized, actually she is a Vishnu Bhakta. So he composed Vishnu Bhujangam. And Dutas of Lord Vishnu came and the mother passed on peacefully, and then he did the Antim Samskar of her, his mother. Now Veda says one should not do that, but he went against that because he is a master abiding in the truth. Veda cannot give directions to him. And the Brahmins in this country, they still outcasted him for that. Look at that. So a mind of a realized person is very different. It's beyond body consciousness. So they can act in a different way. But the immoral, the human being who is ignorant, that person and this great Muni, we cannot compare at all. Absolutely, there is no comparison. So she says, therefore, while holding fast exclusively to one's own duty, one should never cast aspirations against another. Meaning, Daksha, you are an ignorant person. How do you compare yourself with Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is like an enlightened being enlightened being meaning he is the Lord himself. So Vedic injunctions don't even apply to him that, he should rise up when father-in-law comes, a son-in-law should rise up. What are you saying? You are an ignorant person. You have to follow the rules. He doesn't have to follow rules because he's already abiding in a higher state. A person who does the duties will purify the mind to reach the higher state. Now here is a person who's already reached. He is already that self. Not only reached, he is the only self truly. So he says that she says that you should have done your duties, but you have forgotten your duties. Now you should have called him. You should have done this yajna with these offerings to the Lord. Without that, how will the yajna be successful? But all that you have put aside because you have a dvesh towards Lord Shiva. So she says that activity in the shape of performing one's religious duties, like the yajna and all these, and that consisting of pursuits carried on in retirement are equally right, meaning the renunciate's life, Nivritti Marg and Pravritti Marg, they both are equally right for different categories of people. Pravritti dharma does not apply to nivritti margi, nivritti dharma does not apply to pravritti margi. If somebody renounces action before one is ready for it, that person will face misery. And if somebody should be walking nivritti marg, comes into grahasti and tries to live like that, that person will also be miserable. So she says that the adhikar of both is different. So the Vedas give pravritti marg and nivritti marg for two types of people. One characterized by worldly attachment and other by its absence. Now that Daksha is a pravritti marg adhikari. Shivji is already established in nivritti marg. How can the rules be same for both? It is not possible. And a person who is following pravritti marg always reveres the person who follows nivritti marg, because that is the goal. Through nivritti only one will attain the supreme. And here it is Lord who is supreme, who is beyond pravritti and nivritti also actually. So it is not that a person has to follow the same. One cannot follow the same two parts at the same time. Pravritti and nivritti cannot be at the same time. So karma yoga is to be done in pravritti marg. Complete renunciation cannot happen in pravritti marg. So she says this here. The two are found incompatible in an agent practicing both at a time. But even as the one duty is not incumbent on the other type of men, so no duty of any kind devolves on Lord Shiva. So Shiva doesn't have any duty. Now you think that Shiva has duties and that he should get up when you came. That is, you have a duty because you are identified with the body, and duties will help you to rise beyond body identification. Daksha got a clear upadesha also. Sati is not just criticizing him, she is giving him the right upadesha, explaining him the reasoning why Shivji didn't get up and making him understand who is Shivji. In this whole Upadesh, you will see that the beautiful part is only that she does not say anything about her, saying, how dare you insult me, so I'm giving up the body. She says, you insulted Lord Shiva. And I am born of you. You have such body identification. I am born of you. I feel impure to have this body from a person who hates Lord Shiva. So see that. The natural gifts possessed by us, O Father, cannot be acquired by you. They are not extolled in sacrificial halls by creatures following the path of ritual and gratified with food offered in sacrifices, for their origin is unknown. And they are enjoyed only by the knowers of Brahma. Meaning this supreme state of oneness, of beyond body consciousness, that you cannot get by doing rituals. And you believe more in these Brahmanas and these rituals and not that Bhagavan who is the cause of all this. Same like Daruka and Rishis were doing, Daksha also is doing that without calling Bhagavan. He is doing a yajna and thinking that my yajna, my effort, and Brahmanas will offer the ahutis, Veda mantras are powerful enough, and I will get the punya and I will become more and more glorious. In that process, you've forgotten Bhagavan. That state of consciousness can never be attained by just doing all this rituals and boosting up the ego and forgetting the Lord. So finally she says, I have no longer any use for this body of ignoble birth, sprung as it is from the loins of one who has sinned against Lord Shiva. Away, away with it. Naitena dehena hare kritagaso dehodbhavena lamalam kujanmana vrida mama bhut kujana prasangaha kujana prasangataha tajjanmadhigyo mahatamavadyakrit. So he says this birth, she says this birth also is terrible, cursed it is. When a person offends such exalted divinity like Lord Shiva, then this birth of mine itself is a waste to be born through you. When Lord Shiva, you see, Gotram Twadiyam Bhagavan Vrishadhvajo Dakshayanityah Yada Sudurmanaha Vyapetanarmas Smitamashu Tadyaham Vyutsrakshya Etat Kunapam Twadangajam. She says, when Lord Shiva calls me by the name Dakshayani, that I am the daughter of Daksha, I will feel so sad, pathetic, and I will forget all happiness and sorrow because you have insulted Lord Shiva. Therefore, I will forthwith cast off this corpse-like body begotten of you. This much. These 13 verses are the Upadesh of Sati to Daksha Prajapati. So she gives her reasoning why she wants to cast off the body. It is not that Shivji will not accept her if she goes back. Shivji doesn't have any problem. Shivji will accept. But Sati, she feels that I cannot be the daughter of this person who is so anti-Lord Shiva, plus who has consciously insulted Lord Shiva in front of everybody, not once but twice. And what she said earlier, no? One should give up one's life. She is here in this context, so she is the daughter. So she says, if I am called Dakshayani, I will not like it. So she says, now, my mistake, I didn't listen to Lord Shiva. And I came here. I thought that you are my father and all that stuff. But she saw the reality here now, that he is still holding a grudge. So now Maitreya Rishi gives the whole description of how Sati actually consciously ejects out of the body, and then the body catches fire and it is burnt. So Sati sat down silently on the floor facing the north. She sipped some water, wrapped herself with a yellow piece of linen, closed her eyes and resorted to how to drop the body, how the yogis drop. Like that she decided to drop. Now the whole description is even here, you see, consciously how she ejected out of the body. So she steadied herself in a squatting posture. She brought the prana and apana airs at the same level, that is at the navel. Prana goes upwards, apana goes downwards. So both she brought together, held it in the region of the heart along with the intellect, and thereafter the irreproachable lady drew the air thus held in the region of the heart to the middle of her eyebrows, through the throat. So from here to here to here. Thus intending to drop her body, which had been lovingly placed on the lap more than once by Lord Shiva. As a mark of displeasure against Daksha, the strong-willed lady summoned the presence of air and fire in her limbs through deep concentration of the mind. So this Udana Vayu is the one which is responsible for ejecting. So she has summoned this Udana Vayu already, and that Udana Vayu she has brought to the heart. All the faculties the Udana Vayu will gather. Prashnopanishad gives this full description. All the faculties this Udana Vayu will gather properly, and generally people will die out of any, the prana will depart from any one of the 9 holes of the body. So some people when they die, their eyes will remain open. For some people, mouth will open up. Those two are visible. Others will not be visible. Other aperture, so it goes out from nose or ears or reproductive organ or the evacuating organ. It will not be visible that the person departed from here, but these two will be visible. Generally, that's how mortals will die. The yogis will die who are realized, they will go from here, Brahmarandra, they will go from here. So Sati brought up to here, and then the presence of air and fire she invoked with deep concentration. And what is her mind thinking about? That is very important. Last minute, she is not thinking about dvesha towards her father or disgust towards her father. She is thinking about Lord Shiva and her mind is absorbed in thinking of the Lord Shiva's feet. So she was absorbed in enjoying with her mind the honey of the lotus feet of the Lord, the preceptor of the whole world, that she perceived no one else, only Lord Shiva. That's it. She was thereby rid of the last traces of impurity. What are those impurities? That she is the daughter of the Daksha Prajapati, that thought process that she is having, and her body was soon ablaze with the fire produced by deep meditation. So she immolated herself in the Yoga Agni. Now, those people who were there, they saw this, they were all shaken up completely. So they say, alas, angered by Daksha, goddess Sati, the beloved spouse of the most adorable divinity, has given up the ghost. Now most adorable divinity. That time nobody stood with Lord Shiva. Samsara is like this, absolutely opportunistic people. They will not stand for righteousness and dharma and all that. They will go where their, what is it called? Their benefit is. Fully opportunistic. They should have had the guts to tell Daksha that you have insulted Lord Shiva, we are walking out. They didn't walk out. They stayed there. They took all the offerings of that earlier yajna, did avabrita sthanam and all that, including the brahmanas and rishis. And then they came invited here also to take all their offerings. When they saw that there is no place for Shivji, they could have said, no, we will not accept, you have to call Shivji. But they didn't. And now when Sati is gone, now they are saying the most adorable divinity, Lord Shiva. Look at this. That is called being opportunistic. No, why there is no stand about dharma? Just stay firm. What is right, what is wrong, and have the guts to call out the wrong. That's spiritual strength. Otherwise, it's an ego play only. Even if one becomes Devta, one is finally depending on his ahutis. One is still a jiva only. So they say the most adorable Lord Shiva has given up the ghost. Look at the enormous wickedness of this Lord of created beings. Now he's saying, look at the wickedness of the created beings, is Daksha Prajapati. Are, you came to his sacrifice to receive all the ahutis and you're sitting quietly till Sati came. Ahutis are being offered, mantras are being chanted. Now you are criticizing him also. Look at the enormous wickedness of this Lord of created beings, who is the father of all those mobile and immobile creatures, and slighted by whom Sati, his own high-souled daughter, gave up her life. And that Sati who deserved honor at his hands. What about honor that you are supposed to give Sati? Because they were scared of Daksha Prajapati, they didn't give honor to Sati. And now they are saying Daksha Prajapati should have honored his daughter. This is Devatas, you see. Possessed of a jealous heart and an enemy of the Supreme Spirit, he will incur great infamy in the world. People will say that this Shiva hater did not forbid his own begotten child when she was preparing to die because of the ill treatment received from him. This is what I said. Attachment does not allow us to own up our own flaws. The Devatas are not feeling repentant that we also are a part of this. We did not respect her. They are cursing him that you will get infamy and you will not be remembered and you didn't do anything to prevent your daughter. Hare Ram. See the play of Maya. Now, when people were observing this, they were saying all this, attendants of Sati, they got very angry and they started attacking with weapons. At that time, this Bhrigu Rishi, he poured oblations into the fire with Dakshinagni, which is there. In that, he poured the offerings with the Yajurveda mantras, and he brought out this Ribhus. Ribhus are divine beings, one class of divine beings. So he brought out these Ribhus, and who they had got this, they have attained Chandraloka by their tapasya. So those Ribhus, they came in thousands with great force, they came and they bet up these attendants of Lord Shiva, and those attendants had to run. All the Pramathas along with the Guhyakas, they ran away in various directions. Now the news reaches Lord Shiva through Naradji. What happens? We will see further. Very interesting is Daksha Prajapati's Prasang has so many things to learn. Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji Pranam. Swamiji, how do we understand Satiji's role here? Like, is it a Leela that in which she's participating, or but she has all the knowledge?
No, it has to be understood as Leela only. No, if she is the Jagdishwari, then it is only a Leela. It's not that she actually, is ignorant and all that.
Right.
She is Jagdamba, Jagdishwari. All this is a Leela only to teach all these things through this Leela. So that's how we have to understand it. Roles, no? All of them. Shivji also is playing a role only.
Okay, thank you.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बणिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया भावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती। मंगल आरती। राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om.